I've given it 10 tries, and I'm just going to try hello, and I'm just going to try to do this on to time that we didn't spend together is long time, about 7-8 years that I haven't done anything in English. So what can I tell you? The first thing I have to tell you is that in last week's Parsha, the Parsha is called Naso. There are two extremely, extremely important conversations, and one is the conversation of the wayward wife, and the other is the conversation of the Nazarene. Now, I put everything away because it didn't work, so I'm taking everything back again, and we're going to go right into it because it's totally, totally, totally important. So we have the conversation of the suspected adulteress, the wayward wife, and the conversation of, obviously, modesty. Now, adultery, we're talking about Parshas Nazo, so we're talking about the mentioning of the 10 Commandments, and one of the commandments is the fact that you should not covet somebody's wife, somebody's husband, somebody's house, obviously. Whatever has to do with coveting isn't going to be any good. So it's very interesting, but Hashem gives us incredible possibilities to show that we're okay, that we don't get judged for something that we don't do or something that we're not responsible for, or one of the worst is to think of somebody as being honest, as being truthful, as being religious and living the laws of Torah. That it's not a conversation of wearing a costume, okay, because for whatever reason it suits you, and then in turn around and do all the garbage after you supposedly prayed 3 times a day. That is, to me, probably the single worst thing that I can think of. So adultery being first and foremost conversation at this moment, to me, is one of the absolute most horrid things that could possibly be. Why? Well, because when you make a vow and when you marry, it's a vow that actually Torah says you should not make. And there are many, 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 many conversations in the Torah that tell you not to make a vow. But here, you're making a vow for your life. You're making a vow for a lifetime partner. I'm divorced. And I divorced because of infidelity. But people divorce for all kinds of reasons, and I'm very well aware of all of them. But to me, infidelity is beyond a doubt the most horrific thing. I'm not talking about murder, and I'm not talking about anything like that, but I'm talking about when you lose faith between a husband and a wife. In Torah, there is a different kind of losing faith between me and my God. That means when I do something that is away from God, when I do something against the commandments, when I do something countering the commandments, when I know better and I turn around and I do it anyway because it so suits me, like eating McDonald's, like Kentucky Fried Chicken. I mean, I'm giving ridiculous examples, but they're very true because I used to do that, okay? No matter where I went, no matter what I did, I absolutely didn't keep kosher. I lived all over the world, and for years and years, I lived just like everybody else. Even though I come from a very traditional family, and even though I was very, very religious until we came to America. And once I came to America, I wanted nothing to do with anything. I wanted to be just one of the guys. And I did. I became just one of the guys. And that took me through horror situations, tragedies in my life, one after the other, after the other, after the other, until the death of my daughter, Aliyah Shalom, my absolute soul of my soul, and then my becoming very, very, very ill. And after coming out of that, I said, what am I here for? What is the point of my life? Yes, I have a fabulous career. Yes, I am, quote unquote, extremely, extremely talented in many things. And what good is all of that? And what good is my life without my beloved child? What good is my life with another who doesn't want to know me, never did, never will? That's another story. But one tragedy after another until I got, what are you doing with your life? And I came back, and it's 20 years. I took upon myself not to be a wayward wife, because when a Jew goes away from God, it's almost like adultery, because God and the Jewish people are married. It's a union, and it's an indelible union, because Hashem chose us to be His people. He gave us His Torah. He gave us the Torah against the will of the angel. He gave us Torah against all odds, and we accepted. So we accepted, I accepted, I was there, you were there. So the conversation isn't, you can't tell me that you don't know when Hashem gave the Torah. The conversation was for you, this generation that's standing in front of me, and every other generation that will be. Here it is. And we all in unison and in one heart said, Naseh v'nishma, we will do and we will hear. So, like the suspected adulteress receives warning, Hashem gives the possibility of saying, she was secluded, there have to be witnesses. And there was no witness against her to confirm that she actually had adultery. And she was not forced by her alleged adulterer against her will. In other words, everything is done by Torah. And this is the incredible thing about Torah, that it talks about things that are actual. Okay, every single parasha, every single portion of the Torah is actual. It's actually happening now. It's happening in our lives. It's not 3,320 years ago, 2,448 years ago, 1,530 years ago, 750 years ago. No, it's today. Everything that is written in the Torah is actual. It's now. So there are people out there, okay, who are countering, as a matter of daily way of living, every commandment under the sun. There are 613. Let's say that there are 10, and those 10 are the basis for the entire morality of our existence. The entire morality of our existence. If we do nothing more than Ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha, love your fellow as yourself, and we have 10 commandments that tell us what we need to do, how we need to be, how we need to behave, it's already all. Rabbi Akiva said, "V'ahavta l'recha kamocha," if everything else is commentary, then how could you possibly love your fellow as you love yourself and covet his wife, covet his child, covet his house? There are horror stories that are beyond comprehension. And I heard one of them today, and I'm totally and completely blown away and in pain over it, that somebody that teaches thousands and thousands and thousands of Jews who are looking to come back, to do tshuva, to return to what is the basis of our Judaism. And this person is a complete and total, absolutely Chilul Hashem. The words that come out of his mouth are pure sheker. They're absolutely lies under the guise of a costume, under the guise of a black hat, under the guise of a long beard, under the guise of having made a name for himself. So there is a name, there is thousands of people that are following him, and in reality, it's Chilul Hashem. It's a total. I don't even have words, even though, believe you me, when I tell you I know them, I've walked away from them, and I can smell them immediately when I know that somebody is playing the game of being a rabbi, being religious for the reason of, okay? And there are always reasons. There are always reasons why we walk away from Hashem. There are always reasons why we just have to have that. And that is not what we're supposed to have. There are rules, there are regulations, there are laws. You know, Hashem gave us a choice as Jews. And that choice we took. He went to all the nations and he offered them Torah. And everybody said no. Nobody wanted it. Jews said, Naseh v'nishma. We will do. And we will hear. We will listen and we'll do. So the choice was mine. So once I make a choice, and once I give my word to God, we're not talking about Tom, Dick, and Harry. But if I love my neighbor as myself, then Tom, Dick, and Harry have exactly the same right to my honesty and my truthfulness as God. Why? Because they're all creations of the same God. They all have the exact same basis, except for me, that I'm a Jew and I have to be a lamplighter to the world. I took it upon myself to be that, not to be somebody else, not to be anybody else except who I am. When the suspected adulteress is being taken in front of the priest in the tabernacle, in the temple, the first thing he does is he uncovers her hair. Uncovering the hair is such an enormous shame. 99% of all the women, Jewish women in the world, walk around with their hair uncovered. I did. I did. And the idea of covering my hair, which was and is down to my back, okay? However, when I took upon myself and I said, I am coming back, it doesn't mean I'm coming back for 5 minutes, for 5 days, for what is comfortable for me. That means I'm coming back to Torah. I'm coming back to my God. I'm coming back to my people. I'm coming back to my heritage. I'm coming back to what is the base of my NESHAMA. Now, when I came back, I had no clue, none, about Zohar. That was something that was so far off, it wasn't even a conversation. And then came Zohar into my life. And if I should share with you, because people say nobody understands Zohar and I can't possibly learn and I can't possibly study, da, 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 da. So here is the conversation of hair, okay, in the Zohar, in this Parsha, in the Sonchino Zohar, which is where I learn, where I study, where I write my books, and. In other words, what I did was, don't take thinking, please, that I'm calling myself a Kabbalist. No. Under any circumstances, no. I know one thing, and that is voice. And the work that I've done in the Zohar is decode the voice of the singer, of the cantor, of the speaker in the Zohar, and what the Zohar says about where and how a voice should be used. Okay, so everything basically we talk about is about Zohar and is about communication and is about the voice, because that's who we are. We are, as human beings, a voice. And the abuse of the voice, and when you're speaking, and when you're teaching, and when you're providing knowledge to others with love and with kindness and with sharing and with study, but you're creating Chilul Hashem, and you're going against Hashem's commandments, and you're going against Hashem's voice, which of course created the world and created every conceivable detail in the world. So the human voice is the closest thing, but the closest thing to connecting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to God. So the hair that grows on top of the head. In this moment, we're talking about a woman, is mentioned in this week's Torah portion, actually last Shabbos, but since I wasn't here, so I'm doing it now. The hair, it's 125b, 126a, page 184 of book number 5 of the Sonchino Zohar, and I'm reading. The hair on the head of a woman being exposed leads to hair of another kind being exposed and impaired. Hence, a woman should not let her hair be seen even by the beams of her house, much less in the open. Observe that as a rule is strict in the case of a man's hair, so it is of a woman. Consider the harm a woman's hair brings about. It brings a curse on her husband. It causes poverty. It causes something besides to happen to her household. It causes the inferiority of her children. May the merciful one deliver us from their impudence. A woman thus should cover her hair in the 4 corners of her house. When she does this, then thy children like olive plants, as the olive does not shed its leaves either in winter or summer, retains its superiority of the trees, so her children will excel all other children. Her husband, moreover, will receive blessings from above and from below, will be blessed with riches, with children and children's children. So the psalm continues, behold, surely thus shall the man be blessed, and thy children's children, peace upon Israel. No comment. Speaks for itself. Understanding it, you don't have to be a major brain, Zohar. Clear. Totally clear. So the shame put upon her before she drinks the bitter waters, and if she doesn't want to, she has to be forced to drink the bitter waters. But her hair is exposed. End of the world. Then the priest writes, puts it writing in the water. Writing comes off in the water, takes earth, puts it in the water. Drink. If she's innocent, she will bear children and she will have a son. The Torah promises. If she's guilty, her belly will swell up and she'll die. And so will the guy who was with her. We're not talking about easy stuff. The priest should then make the woman swear an oath that contains a curse. The priest should say to the woman, may God make you an example of a curse uttered within, an oath among our people, when God causes your thigh to rupture and your belly to swell. For these bitter afflicted waters will enter your innards, causing also the belly of your adulterous partner to swell and the thigh of your partner to rupture. Torah, okay, has no real question mark. I'm like a 5-year-old child, and Rashi writes to me, if you don't get it at the age of 5, then you're just not going to get it, because Torah is so clear and so without equivocation that if you don't get it when you're in Cheder and you're looking at Chumash for the first time, you're not going to get it because you don't want to, because your head isn't there. When I was little, I got it. When I was little, until we came to America when I was 16, okay, and I wanted to get lost, and I did, okay. But as a kid, as a child, my relationship with Hashem was amazing. I loved him. He was my guide. He was, next to my father, of course, he was the greatest. How did I give him up? How did I lose my way? How did I become what I became? Truth. I never not went to Shul Rosh Hashanah. I never not ate bread on Pesach. And I always fasted on Yom Kippur all my life. Okay. But the rest of it is up for grabs. What does Hashem do? to bring you back, to take a neshama that is lost and bring her back. We're in the time of Mashiach. We're in the time of redemption. We're in the time of, you gotta come back. Look at what's going on in the world. Where does it come from? Out of a laboratory? Out of the Chinese? Out of a conspiracy? No. It's Hashem's way of showing us, what have you done to my world? Who have you become? He's talking to me. He's talking to you. He's talking to each one of us. He's talking to neshamas that are lost and that have been lost for generations. He's talking to people who converted in the 1400s, that left, that walked away, that don't want to know, that have no more relationship whatsoever to Yiddishkeit, to Judaism at all, nothing. Where does it come from that all of a sudden somebody gets an enormous, enormous, enormous need to be a Jew, to want to convert, to have this incredible need to be close and to be near Hashem? These are neshamas that come from, that were, and because of the sins committed, and because of what they've done in past lifetimes. And the Zohar talks about it. We'll talk about it. I'll bring it to you word for word for word. Okay? When I know you better. I'll bring it to you word for word of what Torah says. I will cut you out of my people. Every week he says it. Every week he gives you the opportunity to understand it. And every week he, Hashem Idbarach Gadol Be'kol HaMaasim, in everything he does, he tells you, he opens up the book and he says, if you do this, I will take you away from my people. End of story, not a conversation. So you're going to argue with God? That why should you keep kosher when kosher is more expensive than regular? And why should you do this and why should you do that? And why should you cover your hair when your hair is the best thing in your whole appearance? What are we talking about? Okay, when I covered my hair and I began wearing a sheitel, a wig, and I cover part of the wig, or most of it anyway, because that's who I am. That's the way I am. However, mine is not to judge. Mine is not to give you opinions of mine. Mine is to bring to you precisely and exactly and word for word what is being said in Etz Chaim. Torah is the tree of life. Not more, not less, not changing a comma you're allowed. You cannot change anything. You do the absolute utmost that you can and you will do. And you obligate yourself to be truth. You obligate yourself to be honest. You obligate yourself to do whatever you can for your fellow. And you obligate yourself to be Hashem's best. You give your heart, you give your soul, you give your essence, and you put it in front of Hashem and you ask Him in your innermost heart, in your innermost prayers, to forgive you for the things that you've done, knowing or unknowingly. You learn, you study, you come back because your neshama, your soul, is precious in the eyes of God. And so it has to be precious to you. And you have to be precious to others. And everything that you do and everything that you say has to have a basis in Torah. Tshuva. In a second, wipes out all the past. The incredible gift that Hashem gives us as Jews. Says, come back and all of what you've done in the past will be a merit for you. Huh. But you can't go and you can't say, okay, I'm going to do that and I'm going to go and do tshuva, la 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 la. I'm going to go and do tshuva, and then you have to go out with your friends and you have to eat treif. And then you have to walk around half naked. And then you have to do whatever you have to do, and you know very well what you have to do. And then, of course, on Shabbos, you need to go to the beach. You need to go to the mall. You need to go shopping. You need to go driving around. Okay, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Because you know very, very, very well. And you don't need me to tell you. Because your neshama knows nothing I can tell you. Nothing I can teach. Nothing I can teach to my students. Inside yourself, you don't know. Your neshama knows. Before she came to this world, she was taught. Before she came to this world, Hashem looked at you the way you are. And you were told, go on the derech. Go on the way. Stay clear. The evil inclination sits on one side. Hashem sends angels. Good inclination, Yetzirah Tov, to sit on the other side. We all have them. They all fight. Should I go on Shabbos? Do I need to have that extra dress? And I must buy it on Shabbos because there is a sale. Your choice. Totally your choice. I am not the judge. I can't tell you and won't tell you what to do. Torah is here. The prophets are here. The sages are here. Everything is available for you to know, to learn, to understand. One thing I will tell you, and that is to walk away from anybody or anything that you know is wicked. To walk away from someone that is negative and horrid to you. Somebody that's telling you, don't do and don't go and don't do things for Hashem, and wants to take you away and takes Torah and mixes it up in order for you to be right. Walk away. Hashem tells you, when a father and a mother don't want you to keep Shabbos and you go against Hashem's commandment, you walk away with all the respect and all the caring that Torah asks you in the 10 Commandments, to respect your father and your mother. When you are told by them that you should not keep Shabbos, walk away. Why? Why do I have to answer? I don't have an answer. Hashem gives you the answer. It's for you to know that this is what Hashem wants from you, and this is where you need to be. As in all things, choice is yours. Responsibility is yours. Identity is yours. You decide. The greatest gift that Hashem gave to mankind, to humanity, that no one else, none of his other creation have, is choice. And he says, here is this world. Use it. I give it to you with every conceivable thing that I have to give. All of it. Choose life. He tells you, choose life. Because if you don't choose life, which is Torah, there is the other end. And if you choose the other end, you will have what the other end offers you. And the other end is there to kindly accept you. And you lose your attachment. And you lose your soul. And you lose your identity, and you lose your connection. And you lose the most precious of all things, your connection with God. But nothing is ever lost. The incredible thing about tshuva is that nothing is ever lost. Because in all things, Hashem gives you the opportunity to be taken back. He opens his arms and he says, come back. He gives you every opportunity, every moment of your life. Come back. Come back. I'm here. You may think he's far, but he tells you this thing of Torah is not far away from you. It's not in the sky, and it's not across the ocean. It's right here. Open your eyes. Look and see. And I'm waiting for you. And he's waiting. We've said a lot. We have said a lot. And every Tuesday night, we will say more. My desire is for you to understand me. I'm very simple, just like the Torah. I will speak the truth, and I want you to speak the truth. And I will learn, and I want you to learn. And I will teach, and I want you to teach. To your children, to your friends. Come back. Come back to what is basic to your soul. Come back to what you know is your essence. Let go of the idea that you are a material person. But understand that you're a godly person. And that Hashem's greatest creation and his greatest love comes to your essence by being a Jew, by being one of the NESHAMAs that stood at Sinai and received. And that you represent, your neshama represents generations and generations of who stood at Sinai. We were all there, and that's who there was. You were next to me, I was next to you, and we were all together. come back. Find your way. There are a million things out there that will take you away, and you say no to all of them, and you say yes to Kadosh Baruch Hu. He is the one that will give you everything and anything that you need, that you want, that you desire. He will give you peace, peace of life, peace of mind. He will give you love. He will give you caring, and he will give you understanding. And when there is no one, he will surely not leave you. Benediction, brachot to all of you. We'll see each other again, Bezrat Hashem, with God's help, next week.